Let's dive right into this. Welcome back to part 3 of our series on homeostasis. So in our first two explainers, we covered the basics, right? We figured out what homeostasis actually is, and we looked at how those feedback loops operate. But today, we are shifting gears from the what to the how. We're going to see exactly how your different body systems team up, communicate, and coordinate in real time to keep you balanced and, well, alive. But before we get too far into the details, I want you to take a beat and just ask yourself a question. Can just one single organ, or maybe one body system, do all the heavy lifting alone to maintain homeostasis? Think about that for a second. If you guessed absolutely not, you hit the nail on the head. The biggest thing to remember here is that homeostasis is a massive team effort. It takes a highly coordinated, non-stop partnership across multiple body systems to maintain your internal environment. No single organ is out there acting like a lone wolf. Here is our game plan for today's explainer. 1. Homeostasis is a team effort. 2. The ultimate control center. 3. Scenario, after a heavy meal. 4. Scenario, heat and dehydration. 5. Scenario, during intense exercise. And 6. Your homeostasis final challenge. Okay, starting with section 1, homeostasis is a team effort. Let's meet the major players. Just take a look at this lineup. Every single system has a highly specific, totally vital job. Your nervous system is all about rapid coordination. The endocrine system handles hormonal regulation. Then you've got the circulatory system acting as a transport highway, while the respiratory system manages your gas exchange and blood pH. The urinary system balances water and clears out waste, and your integumentary system, that's your skin, is regulating your temperature. They all have completely different jobs, but they absolutely must communicate constantly to keep you stable. Moving right along to section 2, the ultimate control center. To get all these different organs playing nice together, the body relies heavily on two main communication networks, the big bosses, if you will. On one side, we have the nervous system. Think of this like a lightning-fast electrical fiber optic network designed to detect immediate changes and trigger incredibly rapid responses. On the other side, the endocrine system acts a bit differently. It uses chemical hormones released into your blood. It's a bit slower, but it provides broader, longer-lasting regulation. Together, they're an unstoppable duo. And sitting at the very top of this chain of command, buried deep inside your brain, is a tiny, almond-sized structure called the hypothalamus. This little guy is your true homeostasis coordinator. It's basically the ultimate thermostat and processing center. It is continuously pulling in data about your body temperature, your water balance, how hungry you are, how thirsty you are, and then it organizes the exact right response. It might be tiny, but it is incredibly mighty. Let's see this in practice with section 3. Scenario, after a heavy meal. Imagine you just ate a giant carbohydrate-rich feast. Naturally, your blood glucose is going to spike. So here's the question. Which specific organ jumps into action right at that moment to produce insulin? Any guesses? It is your pancreas. When your glucose levels rise, the pancreas quickly releases insulin. You can think of insulin as a key that unlocks your cells, allowing them to absorb and store that glucose, which brings your blood sugar safely back down. But what if it falls too low? Well, the pancreas has a backup plan. It uses a different hormone called glucagon to raise it back up. Now think about this. What happens to this delicate balancing act if the pancreas produces too little insulin? That is exactly when we start to see conditions like diabetes emerge. Let's switch gears to section 4, scenario, heat and dehydration. Okay, picture this. You're walking home, it's the middle of the afternoon, the sun is blazing hot, and your internal body temperature is creeping up. To cool you down, your nervous system tells your skin to fire up those sweat glands. But there's a hidden response happening too, called vasodilation. Your blood vessels literally widen out. This rushes blood closer to the surface of your skin to radiate that excess heat away. Ever notice how your face gets red when you're hot? That's vasodilation in action. Now, if you were freezing, your body does the exact opposite, vasoconstriction, narrowing those vessels to trap heat deep inside your core. But back to the heat. As you sweat, you're losing a lot of water, which kicks off a textbook negative feedback loop. First, the change. Your internal water level drops. Next, detection. You start feeling thirsty. Then, coordination. Your hypothalamus steps in and releases a hormone called ADH. ADH travels down to your urinary system and basically tells your kidneys, hey, stop making so much urine, we need to conserve water. And it holds the line until you can finally grab a drink and restore the balance. Moving to Section 5, Scenario, during intense exercise. Let's look at the massive system-wide response when you are pushing yourself to the limit, like running sprints or playing full-court basketball. Ask yourself, what exactly is driving that sudden, desperate need to breathe faster and deeper? Is it really just because you need more oxygen? Well, oxygen is only half the story. Your muscular system is burning extreme amounts of energy, and when it does that, your carbon dioxide production absolutely spikes. So your respiratory and circulatory systems have to team up instantly. Your heart rate shoots up to pump blood faster, and your lungs work in overdrive, not just to pull in fresh oxygen, but to rapidly clear out all that toxic CO2 buildup. Clearing that CO2 is absolutely critical for something called blood pH regulation. You see, if too much carbon dioxide builds up in your system, your blood actually becomes dangerously acidic. So that heavy breathing, it is a real-time chemistry adjustment. Your respiratory system, teaming up with your urinary system, is continuously tweaking things to keep your blood acidity in a perfectly safe, suitable range. All right, Section 6, your homeostasis final challenge. Before we wrap up today's explainer, we need to bust a few major myths. First off, negative feedback does not mean something bad is happening to your body. It simply means the system is opposing a change to bring you back to your baseline. On the flip side, positive feedback doesn't mean good. It means your body is temporarily amplifying a change. Also, homeostasis does not mean your internal conditions are perfectly strictly constant. They are actually always fluctuating just a little bit within a safe range. And most importantly, as we've seen, this is never ever controlled by just one single organ. Okay, let's put you in the hot seat. Imagine someone exercising out in extreme heat, and they're sweating buckets, losing tons of water. Based on everything we just covered, try to trace the exact steps and systems involved in keeping them from collapsing. Think through the entire cycle. If you mapped it out correctly, it follows this exact 5-step loop. Step 1, the change. Core heat goes up and water levels drop. Step 2, detect. The nervous system spots the problem. Step 3, communicate. The endocrine system sends out the chemical signals. Step 4, respond. The integumentary system sweats to cool down, and the urinary system conserves water. And finally, Step 5, balance is restored. It is an amazing, continuous cycle of survival. If you only remember one thing from this explainer, make it this. Homeostasis equals teamwork. Your body is a masterpiece of engineering, and internal balance only happens because all of these incredibly diverse systems communicate, coordinate, and respond together without missing a beat. I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. What would happen to this delicate, life-saving teamwork if just one system, say your sweat glands, or maybe your kidneys, just suddenly stopped communicating with the rest of the team? How quickly would the whole internal network break down? Keep that in mind as you continue exploring the amazing science of the human body. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.